This is the, I don't even know, I don't even think we're numbering these anymore. This is, I guess, the official Whatcom IT Professionals meetup.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Now it's kind of virtualized. I don't even know if it's going to be called Whatcom IT Professionals. It seems like this is virtual meetup is the way to go from here on out. So we're definitely going to be taking it nice and easy and slow and just kind of see how things pan out before we go back to more in-person formal meet. So yeah, we have a couple of cool things to talk about this evening. Nothing too crazy. We're going to keep it fairly casual. I was going to let Michael kind of take over after we do some introductions here. Just let everyone kind of introduce themselves and give a little 10, 15 second introduction, who you are, what you do. And then we'll have Michael kind of take over and give a little spiel about TAG related events coming up, along with the TAG mentorship program. That's a lot of fun. And then Kevin Burkeland's going to give a little bit of an insight on how LinuxFest turned virtual. And if you hear a bunch of ringing noises, that's my dog walking in and his collar ringing around. So thank you so much for that. So why don't we just start off? Aaron, we'll just play tag around, and feel free to pick somebody else when you're done.
Sure. So I'm Aaron Dutton. In my day job, I work at Faith Life as an IT manager and enjoy programming of all sorts. And let's see, Nelson, why don't you go next?
Did I click on this? My first Zoom meeting, so I'm still learning. I'm mostly hiding out from the virus. The only thing I'm doing is occasional Ant tutoring online. I'm okay there to do tutoring in Linux, general computer, and chemistry. And as soon as I get around to passing a couple more tests, I'll get general programming and Python. Unfortunately, I got a background with the Army in pandemics, so I understand what's going on more than most people, and it scares the crap out of me. I have a feeling we're going to be doing this for the next year or two.
Oh man, I would love to hear a little bit. I would love to hear your insight on it, Nelson, after we're all wrapped up here, if you don't mind sticking around afterward. I'd love to hear your insight on it. Cool. Right on. Let's shoot it over to Christina.
You're muted, Christina.
You're muted there.
You got to unmute.
She might not be able to. Here. I unmuted you, Christina. There we go.
I registered last year, but I live in Victoria, and now I have possibility on this Zoom attended to this because no travel. I am from Poland, and I am after 25 years with Unix, STO, System View 507 and before, and BSD. And I use Linux only for particular things. And I connected every window, all environment. But my job was to keep my servers, learn application, automated everything, and left. And next company, that I have 25 Unix and 1 Linux in the center and application to the center because they close all branches. That I have a good exploitation because the truth is you planning something and use and the real is different. That I came to Canada 15 years ago, but too late. And I learned 5 years English, and per 15 years, I have only 3 offers for STO, no more, that I learned Solaris, IBM, etc., HP, yeah. But in my opinion, yeah, the STO is the best because I do graphical connection for software. And my dream is do the same with Linux. And this is problem because I don't find software for my tested who good working on Linux. But okay, this is later. Now I am like science. I go to older and my knowledge, and in Canada I studied 2 years VoIP in Toronto.
Hey, Christina. Can we get a little bit more into that here in a bit? Afterwards, doing quick 15-second introductions. Just quick, rapid intro.
That's it.
Okay.
Now I am in Victoria. This is government city, only Asia.
Awesome.
And open shift, everything is this keep Windows, every open server, everything with that is very difficult to find work here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's jump more into that here in a bit when we open up the social aspect of it. Thank you so much for letting us know a little bit about your background. We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's shoot over to Kevin.
Hey, I'm Kevin Burkeland. I think I know most of you already. I'm a instructor at Bellingham Technical College. And before that, in another life, I was a Linux administrator in the cloud. And yeah, I've worked at a couple of places around town and just generally enjoy Linux.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Let's switch over to Ryan.
Ryan Ord with NW Technology, Senior Engineer. Infrastructure is my background. So anything to do with infrastructure, connectivity.
I like it. Mr. Garth.
I work here in town at Dealer Information Systems. I'm a fellow member with Austin, working with Michael for TAG and doing membership, mentorship, and STEM education. Very excited about the things that the groups here in town, Makerspace and whatnot, are working on, creating terrific scenarios for kids and education coming up. So Linux person, DevOps, SBCs, toys, gadgets, that's my thing.
Yes. Let's go over to Brad if Brad's there. I don't know what the symbol is. It's disconnect.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Hey everyone, Brad Williams. I'm the Director of Professional Services for Skyline Advanced Technology Services. My main background is networking, engineering, as well as security and wireless.
Thank you so much. Brad's going to pick up. I think I haven't been able to really discuss with him. We've both been fairly busy, but I think we're going to have Brad pick up back up where he left off and some of the ongoing presentations he was giving involving networking and kind of the multi-tier part series we were originally shooting for when we were able to meet in person. But with these kind of Zoom meetings, I've come to learn that long-winded discussions are it's really hard to keep people's attention. So we're just trying to do, 5-10 minute quick burst rounds and get through the meeting and get as much information and socialization as we can. Let's switch it over to Taylor.
Hello. I probably should throw a video on too. How about that? Yeah, Taylor, I'm a VP of Whatcom IT. I pretty much turn things on and off for a living.
Literally on and off. No,
Yes.
He does a lot more than that. He's really downplaying it. He does a lot more. Before I give it over to Michael to do an introduction, my name is Austin Barr. I run the Whatcom IT Professionals meetup here. I also co-own with Taylor Whatcom IT. I'm also on the TAG. I don't even know what I'm on anymore. I'm on a couple of different advisory boards and committees and all sorts of fun things, and I help out whenever I can. And so I think that's everybody. I'll pass off to Michael for a quick intro and whatever TAG awesome related stuff he's got going on.
Thank you, Austin. I'll make this sort of brief and fancy. You all may have received the TAG newsletter that I sent about 10 minutes ago. So for the month. So check your email on that. Basically, we released a bunch of programs that we've been working on, particularly mentorship and consulting. Those are the programs we've been mostly focused on for the last few weeks. There's a fun STEM carnival happening at Whatcom next week to mention. In addition to sort of all of the virtualized, the virtualized monthly meetups from most of our community groups. So for instance, we have well, this event happening tonight, and then tomorrow we have Women in Tech is coming back with Andrea Frost as the lead for that group, and all this is in the newsletter and on our website, obviously, which is tagnw.org. And then we have on Thursday both the Bellingham Linux user group and the Bellingham Codes groups meeting. I'll be presenting at the BLUG with a Pinebook Pro presentation, as well as what TAG will be doing with our small fleet of Pinebook Pros, which you may be interested in, but it's mostly a STEM education and outreach project that we're working on. And then I'll kind of highlight the two programs I mentioned, mentorship and consulting. And let's see if I can share my screen without it being a complete, absolute disaster. A moment. All right, so boom, let's do this. So we have, this is our website. I've done a few bits of cleanup here. We have separated our programs and our member resources, which is really the two things. The member resources was getting unruly as we launched all of our new programs. Under here we have mentorship and consulting, alphabetical. I'll just go into consulting for a moment. So this is our primarily free technology consulting for nonprofits program that we launched just a few weeks ago. And the obvious goal here is to support our nonprofits and their technology needs. It's not really designed to replace full MSP or IT support, obviously, but just give them some guidance, largely in how to sort of pivot in the world of coronavirus and whatnot. And we do have a few projects going, and happy to share with those the details of those once they become public. But yeah, that's going well. If you know any nonprofits that are in need or you want to refer them here, please do to this website, tagnw.org/consulting. They can just apply basically and give us just a few bits of information, who they are, what they do, and what they need. And that sends it over to our membership committee, and we talk about that every week. And on mentorship, similar process here. We have a mentorship program that we launched a few weeks ago for all TAG members, and primarily focused on the student membership scenario. We have essentially an intelligent match for mentee applications and mentor applications, and feel free to review this. It's tagnw.org/mentorship. And again, these applications come to the membership committee, and we do a weekly match. And so we'll be doing a lot of that on Thursday. And I'm going to pass it back to Austin after showing a MailChimp scenario. So if I can. If you haven't received the newsletter, I can do a very quick rundown of what we've done here. And so here's our main newsletter. We're all equally and enjoyably sharing this process together. We have the highlights here. These are all of the activities that we have for the month. And I wanted to highlight two sort of actual events here. And that's a new happy hour we're doing on Mondays at 5 p.m. and a cafeteria program we're doing on Wednesdays at noon, which is kind of like a radio show type program. We have tomorrow the Bellingham Makerspace and COVID virtual tools, which is sort of a community sourced technology solution for healthcare tomorrow. And then next week, we have Northwest Innovation Resource Center. We're going to talk about a program that they launched or will be launching at the end of this month. I'm not sure if it's public yet, so I'm not talking much about it, but it's going to be a pretty awesome summer-long program. So tune into those. Those are all Zoom events, and you can join in and either listen along or sort of be sharing the process of jumping in with questions and comments as we have this sort of radio hour type program. And back to you, Austin.
Awesome. I do want to say that some of the events that Michael is currently hosting right now are amazing. I really enjoy the Tag Happy Hour. We had a lot of fun the other day at Tag Happy Hour, a lot of laughs. So definitely come by and hang out for those. We're trying to keep as much as we can alive here. The tech community is fairly small in Whatcom County and the surrounding area, even up in Vancouver where Christina's at. The tech community is a small, pretty tight-knit community. So we're doing our best here to try to keep people involved, keep people interacted, even if it's for an hour. Even if we switch up our format for Whatcom IT Professionals, meeting for an hour and just hanging out for a little bit. I think that's really crucial, especially for the kind of jobs we do, where we're staring at a computer all day. To bring a positive reason to come back to your computer instead of dragging on with some code or having to hop into a server and do some work, do some updates, patchwork. So without further ado, I think we're going to pass it off to Kevin Burkeland. I'm really excited actually to hear about some of the LinuxFest stuff.
So
let him kind of jump into it.
Life's been kind of crazy lately, right, guys? We've all had to adapt and shift, and nothing quite as much as, well, at least at the beginning, as LinuxFest. To give you guys some background, LinuxFest, for those of you who haven't been, I think almost everyone here has been, but it's a conference that we hold at BTC every year. We have the students help put it on, along with community volunteers, mostly from the BLUG group, the Bellingham Linux Users Group. And this was to be our 21st year. We were going to have a on-campus, full event, and then COVID happened. So we had about 1 week to figure out whether or not we were going to have the event. We actually ended up making our announcement the day before the governor made the decision for us that we couldn't do it. So we were 1 day ahead. But once we decided that we couldn't do the fest, it would be dangerous and irresponsible of us. We had to make a decision on whether or not we were going to cancel the fest entirely or try a Hail Mary of trying some online stuff. And that's when our community just kind of blew me away. We put a call out to the people that were confirmed as speakers saying, hey, we know we just canceled the event on you, and we're real sorry about that. But, if you could, if you have the ability, if you could record yourself giving the talk that you would give and then send that to us, we would really appreciate it, and we would like to, still have some type of event. And we've had a good number of sessions come through, and we're still having sessions come through. One of the nice things about this is that we are actually able to extend LinuxFest, and it's no longer just a weekend event. It's going to be seemingly unending, but that's not 100% the case, but it'll be interesting to see. In fact, I'm actually working on a presentation that should go out in a couple of days here for LinuxFest. But we had one major problem, and that's the community interaction aspect. That's the main thing that makes LinuxFest LinuxFest. I mean, we don't have big keynotes. We get remarkably good speakers for what we are, but we aren't a huge, we don't have big money backing us. Everyone that's doing it is volunteering for free. And it's really the community that makes LinuxFest LinuxFest. So we had to figure out a way to keep our community involved, allow them to continue to interact. So we vetted a couple of options. but I believe it was James Mason who found and set up and configured and got us a sweet deal as well on Discuss. Has anyone here ever used Discuss? It's a forum software. You've probably used it even if you don't think you have. If you've ever been on a forum online in the last like 5 years, most of them, turns out they're running Discuss in the background.
They rebranded.
Open source project. Yeah, it's super great. And by doing that and uploading the videos to YouTube and getting the information out to people, we now have a way of, while the videos go live, for the next hour or so, the presenter is in our forums responding to people, answering questions, and it's really kind of brought the community in. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend going to linuxfestnorthwest.org. It has a link to the Discuss. We've been posting all of the videos under the Discuss. You don't even need an account to get to it because they're all uploaded through YouTube. And it's just a really great way of, while it's not perfect, we can't have the fest that we wanted to have, we can do better than nothing.
Can I inject something there,
Oh
Kevin?
yeah, totally.
See, one of the things I think that's really beautiful about the way that played out is that now people can refer back to these things much more easily, and the post interaction and continue on. Like you said, the fest kind of lives on a lot longer than the original 2.5 day fest that it was in this format, which is very nice.
Yeah, it's huge. And you know, as I've been saying, the community's been fantastic. All of our sponsors, all of our corporate sponsors have been fantastic who make donations. I think nearly every one of them decided to carry over for next year. So Linux Fest next year, assuming that we can have a Linux Fest next year, it's already a green light. We're already paid for. It's amazing. And I've just been blown away by the Linux community in general, and more specifically, I want to give 2 major shout outs. First to James Mason, who's been doing basically all of our web dev work, and he has just been killing it.
Amazing.
Finding all of these tools, and he's the real reason that we were able to, you know, pivot our web presence so quickly to this new format. And the other person I want to thank is John Blanford. Almost everyone here, I'm sure, knows John. He's been a staple in the Linux community, at least for years and years. And as head of the video team, he's really taken the all of the different formats that we've been receiving videos in, from OGG Vorbis to MP4, and getting them all working, converting them, and then uploading them back up to YouTube.
What kind of challenges did he run into, Kevin, in converting and bringing those in?
I did not get a chance to talk to him specifically about the troubles, but I know personally from experience that the Linux community loves their different formats for literally everything that they push out.
OGG what?
Yeah, and then of course there always has to be some guy that will accept nothing less except for FLAC recording of his audio that has to be matched with the video, and you know, all that fun stuff of basically saying, use your own equipment, do what you do, and then just send it to us. And
so how did you how did you arrive at the format and the instructions that you set out for everybody, and how did you find the reaction to those instructions? Were people following as you expected?
So the way that we came up with our instructions was John really just took a look at what he could do, and basically, you know, the Linux community is nothing if not good with computers to a degree. They're very good at a very specific set of stuff.
Adapting?
So, yes, yeah, they're very adaptable. So what we did was we allowed basically any formats that they wanted, so long as they got the information to us. And then it was on our end to do the conversions, or I say our end, John's end, which is one of the reasons why I'm thanking John so much. I was personally just heads down trying to get my classes prepped. But
I
it's
didn't hear
been
John complain too much either, which is
no. Yeah.
Well, John never complains.
No, he
I've known
doesn't. It's
John
true.
for
Yeah.
quite a while, and I've never heard him once complain. He does a great job, so he well deserved. Yeah,
It
definitely.
had to be
Yeah,
a lot of work, though. I mean, I know you got a lot of formats coming in.
Yes. We'll have to get a final tally from John. I'm trying to find a real obscure one to submit mine under.
Just to make his day, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's really I love the Linux community and the LinuxFest community specifically. They're just so great, and they really stepped up. And we wouldn't have LinuxFest without them.
And the sponsors as well. I
Yeah.
think the response there to the call out that you guys put out to roll over or go a refund, and it was phenomenal, that response.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
It was really kind of shocking, and not just the big sponsors, the individual sponsors as well. We offered a opt-in to so okay. First, we had to decide how we were going to do refunds, because we've never had to do refunds before, because this is the first time we've missed a fest. Yeah, and we thought we'd just refund everyone, but then I can't remember who it was. Was it you, Garth, came up with the idea?
No, I think it might have been James.
Yeah. He came up with the idea of offering the option of rolling over their
actually, that might have been Bill. I think that was Bill.
Since it's a tax deductible donation, we figured, we'll refund everyone as a default, but if you want to, you can opt into just making it a donation to the fest. And like 30-35%, just like, yeah, take my money. I don't need a shirt. I don't need to be at the fest.
That's community support right there.
That's what I was just going to say. That's huge, especially knowing because I helped organize a few years as well, and knowing some of the financials and to organize a festival that Kevin is a part of is huge, and I know Garth has been heavily involved as well. But running a festival that size is there's a lot of logistics and there's a lot of cash. You need a lot of cash, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh,
and we have a lot of support from like BTC. I mean, having the space and all, we get a lot of help from our sponsors in our community. It's amazing. What Kevin's saying, it sounds like a lot of flowers, but he's not joking. The support it's amazing. And when we went through this, we were like, this is going to suck. And it didn't.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. We were preparing for the worst, and I took a crash course on form moderation and Discuss, and then nothing. We had no fights. We had no riots. Everyone was they were just cool about it. And I think that's the biggest piece of advice I can give for anyone attempting to pivot anything is come at it open and honestly, and just let them know what you're going through, because everyone's going through shit right now. And
not to quote Nike, but just do it.
Yeah, your community will step up, especially if you come at them and say, hey, we know it's not going to be perfect, but we still want to do something.
Well, I have to say thank you, Kevin, for I know LinuxFest, and thanks, Garth, and also obviously James and everybody else who's worked on this project. It's a big undertaking, and it's really awesome what you guys provide for the community. So thank you so much. And I think that's really awesome. I'm just going through the sponsor list. I actually didn't take a look at the sponsor list, and there's a lot of sponsors. I remember when that list used to be half the size. So this
they're not little ones either.
They're not. I'm seeing AWS
this year.
What's that?
We sold out this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You actually fully sold out.
Wow. Cut it off.
Incredible.
Yep.
So I know I'm seeing AWS, and actually it's I didn't see Dave Stokes, but I used to run into Dave Stokes at a lot of other conferences as well. He works for MySQL. I was with him at a lot of different API and PHP conferences back in the day. So he's an amazing person, and just the community alone is a stand-up community. So way to go on that. And here's to hoping for next year to be able to get out there in person. So
I mean, we had
awesome.
this great plan. The theme was be excellent to each other. We were buying fanny packs. It was great.
Perfect. Fanny
Throwback
packs.
style.
I
Throwback.
absolutely would have wore one, especially if it was a tie-dye one. I would have wore a tie-dye
Oh yeah,
fanny
they were
pack.
going to be tie-dye with the LinuxFest logo, and
Perfect. Perfect.
We're
That's
going
okay.
to make sure that happens next year.
yes,
Ooh.
we
Throwback
need,
to
we
the
need
throwback?
fanny packs.
Are we shipping those out or anything like that? Are we going to have them held
No,
over?
no,
for next year?
we thankfully we were going to put the order in the next week.
Got it.
So
Wow.
So
yeah,
no lot of
we
inventory
managed
holdover.
Yeah, we don't have, because my garage is where the inventory gets stored. So
Are you at a
luckily
place
don't
where
have-
you could discuss what the plans are for contingency and whatnot for next year's?
We don't really know yet. We're kind of still playing it by ear. We're really hoping to be able to have a live festival, but we are
It's liable to be different.
playing with different solutions. I know John is investigating Jitsi heavily for the possibility of doing like a live streaming interactive type session. The college has offered use of their Zoom licenses for Linux Fest, so we could do like a massive Zoom call in theory with all the people that want to attend a certain lecture. We actually had already been working on live streaming stuff for the event. So what we might end up doing is having
Hybrid.
the actual presenters show up or record from home if they prefer that. But the ones that are local could show up, do their presentations at BTC with a virtual audience. You know, we're really prepared to try just about anything.
That's exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, it is. Well, this meeting goes till 8. However, we're just hanging out, so feel free. Open discussion at this point in time. If you're wanting to get off, feel free.
Kevin?
Yeah.
I put together about 150 person conference back when I was in the military. I was the sole sponsor of running the whole thing. So I have some experience. If you guys need an extra hand next year, reach out and touch me.
Yeah, we're going to be doing our meetings. I believe they're the second Thursday of every month, which I think that's this Thursday. No, next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, and we're going to be conducting them through either Zoom or Google Meet or Jitsi. We'll get the information out there, but that's another great point. Linux Fest is entirely community driven, community supported. One thing I didn't mention that I would like to make sure that I get out there is that it would be impossible to do without the students. The students are so much of Linux Fest. We force them into it and cajole them, but they end up liking it most of the time, right, Austin?
Oh yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I really enjoyed working at the Linux Fest, and I was looking forward to working this one this year. But
I think I lucked out, Kevin. I never really did like any of the actual student stuff. I was more in a leadership role from like the beginning. So for me, it was a lot more fun.
Game Den
yeah. That's what I mean.
You rock the heck out of the game den, sir.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to do online Linux gaming. Get some Tux Kart Racer and
Oh yeah.
The light bike one that's always exciting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Throw a couple of prizes up.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. I don't know if that continued. I didn't make it last year, unfortunately. So the prizes are still going.
My friend Aaron Roden took over as managing the game den, and then we actually had a couple of students that in their spare time were practicing streaming and all that stuff that really took it and ran with it.
That's actually really awesome to hear.
We're still using your list of Steam accounts. It's just gotten more and more revised over the years.
That thing was the most disastrous thing because it got so messed up due to some of the being able to when you're creating account names and you have to add 0, 01, 02, 03. After I think we got to 9, they lock you out, and so it just became an S show after that. Of trying to get it all put together. So
we finally got them all consolidated under Gmail addresses.
Oh wow!
It's been a process, but it's getting better every year.
Will Aaron still be there next year, Kevin?
That's the hope. He's still in town. He actually just started his own business which
I mean,
is
he's
great.
graduated
And,
this year, isn't he?
well, no. Aaron's just my friend.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was.
Yeah. He officiated my wedding. He's a great guy. I just kind of strong armed him into it.
Well, sweet. Like I said, feel free, open meeting at this point. Feel free to hop on and just start talking away. I'd love to hear more from Christina and Nelson at some point. Christina, make sure you're unmuted. I don't know if you know how the mute system works for Zoom, but in the bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom, you're able to click mute and unmute, or you can hold the space bar button down to talk. So
I figured that out.
okay,
I can mute it and unmute it. This is my first Zoom meeting.
Okay.
I was going to tutor. I was kind of in line to go tutoring for this quarter by Zoom, but I was scheduled for a voluntary operation for a kidney stone on the day they were holding the mandatory two-hour training. So I don't know if I'm ever going to be on the Zoom tutoring at BTC. Kevin, maybe you know, is the Zoom tutoring going on and is it working?
I've just been so focused on getting my own stuff going that I haven't really had time to look at it. Although I do have good news from me at BTC. I'm now officially a full instructor at BTC. I'm no longer
Congrats.
That is so huge. That's so cool.
It is.
Like we said yesterday, very well earned, very well received. Hey,
No
Christina,
person more
if you're trying to
deserving than you,
talk,
sir.
you need to unmute. You need to unmute yourself to talk. Okay.
That's really awesome. Congrats, Kevin.
So Taylor, now's the option for talking about your partner there.
What was that?
I said now's the time for the option to talk about your partner.
Throw him under the bus, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not, right?
Bring it.
Christina, hold. I see you're trying to talk. You have to hold down the space bar on your system or hit the unmute button. Okay, awesome. Okay. Yeah, no, it's a great run here. We're just kind of plugging along. I mean,
well, Austin, if I may, what
sure.
kind of stuff do you guys do at Whatcom IT Professionals?
Sure. Manage service IT support company. So we primarily work on, individual business systems and being able to manage their overall network capabilities, monitor them, be able to help out individual users through our localized help desk support. When I say localized, it's Taylor and myself as of right now, due to a lot of the downsizing that's happening across the way. We are actually about to take on a BTC intern, Kevin, in April, but due to the classes being shut down, we don't know how that's going to work out. He reached out and he said that he's wanting to still hop back on if we're open up in June, which we hopefully will be. It's all up to the state at this point, So yeah, I mean, we basically help out local businesses, and lately we've been helping out a lot of individuals. We haven't had any businesses approach us. Most of the businesses are shut down. The ones that are open or critical already have internal IT support. So it's kind of, we're at a weird limbo state. We've actually been doing a lot of residential work recently, and that's kind of cool. I haven't really fixed computers in a while, so it's kind of nice to get back into some fix it break it.
Takes you back to the roots, doesn't it?
Takes me back to the roots, man. It's wonderful. It's just a old school way to do things, I guess. I mean, people still need their computers fixed and nobody's open. So I was like, all right, sure. I'll fix your computer for you,
Point to point wireless systems. That's been a lot of fun hopping up.
Yeah. A lot of wireless systems. Yeah.
Getting a point to point about 300 yards or so. That was pretty fun. I'm surprised, honestly, like how like distance wise, how much bandwidth you can travel over the air that way. It's amazing with the equipment we have now that I can do that.
Austin, we onboarded a new BTC intern completely remotely for our help desk. So
Wow.
He started at the beginning of the quarter and is going to go through the end of the quarter. But it's 100% remote. Like he's never even been to the office.
What? I see.
Awesome.
My thing is, I don't know, like, I'll shoot straight. I don't feel trustworthy enough to give the keys to the castle to
absolutely
to an intern. So I kind of want to at least have some type of oversight. Not that they wouldn't do well or do a good job. I know the individual fairly decently, but I just
and
we have more
format is
we have more
different than
people, so it's a little easier to do that too.
Yeah, no, it totally is. Yeah. What was that, Ryan?
an MSP format's slightly different in security and
Yeah, it's really tough, and our systems, it's just like Taylor and I are just, we have open keys of the kingdom for him and I. We were having somebody that was doing some little bit of contract work for us, and we kind of had that locked down. But since the coronavirus, it's been kind of it's slowed down at least, right?
One of the bigger issues too is just network. I mean, security as far as that goes. Like right now, there's only 2 different IP addresses that can access most of our internal stuff, including even like DigitalOcean. Nobody has access to it that's not in one of our 2 IP address range. So it would be a pain in the butt going into every single droplet and modifying all of it, to be honest.
That, and then also, I mean, we have, I'm not going to say too much. I don't want Taylor to beat me over the head later. Don't want to talk about our systems too much.
Well,
but
we already know two IP network address.
Yeah.
So,
well, good luck,
just hit
man.
the camera and pan it around.
Where do you guys live again?
Yeah. It's
you got to remember who you're talking to, buddy.
What was those IP address ranges?
Yes.
Somebody does have I got IDS on, so if anybody does, I mean, I'll know.
Well, there's a little bit more to that too. I mean, you remember, like I'm a fan of honeypots, right? So come on in, folks.
friendly honeypots. They're the best.
Yeah. So no, it's all in good fun, I'm not gonna lie, it has been really rough. Like we're struggling. We're not like failing. We're not gonna close doors or anything, but it's been rough. It really has. Like there's no businesses open right now, and if we're considered or technically under the essential businesses. However, how does that? It doesn't matter if there's no other businesses open, right? So, or at least for gaining new business and ongoing project work, I should say.
It makes cold calls really hard.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what is this?
What happened here?
Let's cancel this. No, thank you.
Bigger things that people, I mean, you can't walk into their office anymore and bring them a coffee. There's no hand-to-hand communication, so it makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah. No, it really is. I don't know. Is there any projects you want to talk about, Taylor? Anything cool? Since a couple of you inquired about it. Any fun things?
Oh gosh. Windows updates. Make sure you do your Windows update.
Yes, that's always a good thing.
That's a lottery case, man. I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't mind saying we switched over from Kaseya. We were using Kaseya for remote management, and we switched over. We had a really bad blowout with Kaseya due to the fact that they couldn't get their system operational for us for 3 months. So, I mean, that's
brutal.
That was a month self-transferring over all the units. That was fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. We've switched over to Synchro, which I love Synchro now. They're actually based in Kirkland too, which is kind of cool. So we're kind of keeping it local. What's that?
So the average MSP goes through 3 RMMs before they settle on one.
We're on number 2, and we're happy. We're very happy.
We're on number 3, and we've been really happy.
What are you guys using, if you don't mind me asking? Ninja? See, we talked about that too. We Taylor and I literally had like hours and hours and hours of discussion.
Yeah, their Windows update their systems updates or their back end is phenomenal.
That's what we love about. I mean, in comparison, like the software, like the complexity of what Kaseya has is amazing.
Yeah, it is, but it's
so much. But it was like running on like Windows NT. Like it was
it's ancient.
Ouch.
Did you guys deal with Kaseya as well? Have you dealt with Kaseya? No.
No, we demoed it and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. It was bad. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what's funny? You know what's funny about that, Ryan, is I was talking to Eric McFraser too, and he was in the same boat. We had an open discussion, a public discussion about that as well, and he was pretty much in the same boat. I mean,
we started Enable, which is now SolarWinds. Then we went to LabTech, and then we went to Ninja.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like Ninja would be our next choice, but I'm really happy with Synchro. It is so simple. The UI is up to date. They have a lot of. I mean, they are a newer company, so you have to deal with a little bit of the hiccups there. But I have not had a single problem with their remote management tool yet to date. You know, I'm happy with it, and having unlimited seats for a fixed price is incredible.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have unlimited.
You as well.
For fixed price.
So yeah, I mean, and we're not dealing with, you know, 500 seat clients. So
we're 3,000 or 4,000 endpoints.
Oh, are you? Oh yeah, you're a lot further along than we are for sure. But how are you guys doing there, Ryan? I'm actually
we're actually doing quite the opposite. We're onboarding new customers. We're doing about 2 a week right now.
Who are your target clients?
A lot of distribution, a lot of essential services, government. We do a lot of distribution companies.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. We're primarily blue collar. You know, a lot of law firms, repair shops, car repair shops, and you know, a couple of actually a gunsmithing location. So you know, just a bunch of weird blue collar facilities.
No, it's quite the opposite. Our revenue is actually up considerably through this process.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Congrats. That's really cool. Right on.
Curious to know if other MSPs are experiencing that. I have not seen that in other MSPs. We're taking over from a lot of other MSPs.
Are you? I've talked to 2 different ones since this has happened, and both of them said they're having some issues as well. So you know.
A lot of it too is personnel. If a business requires somebody to go on site and you're not able to do so, that's, I think, a lot of where that's coming from too, is that especially on the islands, they're not able to get out there.
Yeah, we haven't had a problem on the islands at all. We've been able to go on the islands. We have customers on the islands. It hasn't been a problem, especially since we're essential services. We just take precautions.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we can do nowadays. Even with us, for dropping off computers and stuff. That's the only way we've been trying as best we can to make sure that everything is safe for the customers. I mean, it's definitely an interesting world we live in now, where everything is a precaution.
Yeah, we used to be shipped. You know, we'd do Amazon orders every week to get in, you know, keyboards, mice, and all that junk, and now we're just shipping it to everybody's house. So.
Drop ship direct, huh?
Yep. Unfortunately, for some reason, that doesn't go through our invoicing model, and so it goes on my credit card, and so I gotta expense every single thing. No, I don't. I wish I did.
Got to recode that.
To add to that, we've had sort of other organizations have had mixed responses. Some being pretty largely impacted, and others, like Ryan mentioned, having a little bit of an uptick.
Yeah, it's definitely a new world for us at teaching at BTC. It's very interesting right now.
What are some of the things you guys have run into and been able to solve in ways you didn't expect so far?
Well, so we knew it was coming, and luckily we had an extra week or so to prepare. For our program, we're fairly well set, although we did have 2 of our physical networking classes this quarter, which is rough. But what we ended up doing was we built a VPN out of a server that we already had pre-racked, just way too much of a server for this VPN, 32 cores of CPU and 255 gigs of RAM on what's essentially a BSD router. But we got that hooked up to the K-12 network so that the students get that symmetrical, much larger pipe for their VPN connections. And then once they're into our network, they actually route out through our main Comcast connection that the school makes us use because we break stuff. So getting that all set up, getting all the routes proper, and then we had to basically redesign all of our classroom deploys so that we could have them labeled, numbered, get student drives in, plug them in so that they can remote desktop into the school computers with the 32 gigs of RAM that they have. for virtualization and that kind of projects. And it was definitely a push, especially since it was mostly me and my coworker Greg, and we were only allowed on campus for 2 days to get everything done. So
Good thing Greg's a real trooper, eh?
Yeah. So yeah, I gave one lecture wearing a bandana over my face because this was after classes had started when we finally got all the drives and were able to get them all plugged in. And yeah, it was definitely interesting. We could talk to each other, but we couldn't, by school rules, be in the same room as each other. So we basically had to yell at each other from the hallway and like take turns in the office because we share an office. So we're trying to debug why the VPN isn't working, and I'm out in the hallway on my phone, and Greg's in the office on his computer. It was this whole thing, but we got it mostly working. First week was pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. We had a lot of network outages, students getting, used to like, oh, I shut off my computer. Well, I guess you have to wait until one of us can get in tomorrow to do any more work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a great learning experience, though, especially for our field. The students are getting this kind of real world, practical, hands-on. Like,
Remote management.
I'm teaching cloud computing right now, and it's going amazing because everything's cloud computing.
Interesting.
What were you using for your VPN? Were you using like OpenVPN or?
Yeah, we're using OpenVPN set up through pfSense. We got a self-signed cert on it. We're using it in bridged mode, so we actually have a separate 172.30 network that exists only inside the VPN, and that's used as the tunnel. Everyone that's on the VPN connects to that, and then it sends it through, and then we got a route out to our network on 172.26. And that caused this huge problem where we got everything set up. We were able to get to the router, but nothing else was working. And I'm ashamed that it took me this long to figure out, or it took me that long to figure it out, but it took us like 2 hours of debugging to figure out that we just had never added a route back to the .30 network.
Yep.
So we would send the ping, the machine would receive it, and then it would send it to a different server to respond.
Oh man,
that's pretty awesome. That's literally exactly the same. Our current setup is pfSense through OpenVPN for one of our systems that we use. So it's nice. Not as easy as the Unify system, of course, where you pretty much just log in.
Yeah,
plug and play.
You gotta build it yourself. Yeah, you gotta build it yourself.
Hey, Kevin, how much were you able to involve the students in that process of getting that set up?
Not at all, unfortunately. Yeah,
learning moments
campus
lost.
rules is no student allowed on campus. They were allowed to drop off their drives, but we had to have a bin out in the dental parking lot with somebody standing 6 feet away from it to make sure that no one ran off with it. And then we got the drives and we had to sanitize them, and it was this whole thing.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but
because I know in our LinuxFest. Sorry.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Just referring to last year's LinuxFest, the students doing the rebuild of the networking and the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
I mean, that was a phenomenal thing. They did a fantastic job, and all of them were really pretty proud of themselves, and rightly so.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the highlights of my year is helping them out with the network build and all of that. But we'll figure something out. I refuse to not have some type of large capstone style project. So, actually, this is, I'm not sure if I can plug this. So it's not associated with BTC. It's not affiliated with BTC. I am not a administrator or a owner of this Discord channel. But some students did set up a Discord channel for BTC students that I am a member of. And they've been working on projects together, and they've been like collaborating, and it's
form
just
their
great
own
to
community.
see them. Yeah.
Right on.
It's interesting. I heard something very similar happening with the Whatcom community college students. A lot of the community college students I hear have started their own Discord to collaborate as well. So it's interesting to see a lot of these students from the local colleges, kind of taking initiative in order to create that social atmosphere while continuing their education. It's just it's something I wasn't expecting. I kind of figured that some of these instructors would, or not even instructors, but somebody within the district or whatever school they're at would create some type of platform use, like Discord or whatever it may be. But,
Well,
then again, we talked about that as well. That's kind of hard to do right? I mean, we talked with Chris Powell about that from Western Washington University. That's kind of a sticky situation. You're about to say something there, Kevin?
yeah, so with FERPA regulations, like I can't even confirm which students are in which classes. I can I can say that I had a student. Like I can say that Austin was my student at one point, but I can't
Sure.
say any of the classes that Austin had with me or anything like that.
Even if I give you
So when it
permission?
comes- Well, if you give me written permission, that's different.
Okay. Okay.
But since we can't control the platform and we can't control, what gets said on it,
Where it gets stored.
it's this whole legal thing of like, if somebody comes in and starts being a real jerk on it, if I was in charge of that, that's my fault. That's
Sure.
my responsibility. And, I did not tell them to do it, but I did encourage my students that Discord was a platform.
Yeah.
And here's an invitation if you so choose to click on it.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't send out the invitations, but I did point them towards the Canvas group where they could message everyone in the school.
Yeah, as Austin mentioned, the same thing, or sounds like a similar thing happened at Whatcom. And my impression is just the schools weren't really prepared with that component when they had to virtualize everything. And
oh yeah, for
so
sure.
the students sort of stepped in and made their own solution, which Discord is a existing solution for a lot of people for a lot of things, including tag. So why not use it?
Yeah, like I was told that I had to, if I was going to do synchronous lectures, since we switched to online, none of my classes actually have times anymore. But I still want to keep that, standard synchronous, we're going to have these classes, but I could not expect students to be there. So the school solution was, just record it. And then you'll be able to share it with the students. And then they sent out a letter one day into the quarter being like, hey, you can record it, but you can't upload it anywhere because of FERPA regulations without consent from every student in your classes. And it was just today that I finally gotten consent from all of my students so I can start unlisted publishing them to YouTube and then linking them to the Canvas class so that I can delete them at the end of the quarter. Like it's
a mess. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the laws are good. I don't want to sound like I'm coming out against student rights because that is definitely not what I'm saying. But it's definitely making it harder to shift and pivot.
Sure.
I suspect some of those laws are liable to change over the next few as we continue to have to work with this restriction and still achieve our goals.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot's going to change. Oh, sorry, Michael, go ahead.
At least automatic approval with enrollment or something, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, some of them won't change because some of them were created because of situations that have happened in the past, and it's to protect the student. And some of those won't ever shift. That they got created for a reason.
Yes. Yeah, the laws definitely exist for a reason, and they are good, but like they're black and white in certain ways. Like if there is no authentication system controlled by the school, I can't upload it without written release. So that knocks out YouTube, that knocks out basically every platform that isn't Canvas itself, which has no good way of hosting videos that
well, that's what I was going to say
easily.
Like if Canvas actually supported that, then you would just use it, right?
Yeah.
But, that's part of the problem of just like being forced into a virtual, hey, everybody do virtual school and not having selected a vendor knowing that you were going to do that.
Yeah, we have two tools. One Zoom, which we all have licenses to. The other was Big Blue Button, but it turns out that we can only have 10 sessions at a time on Big Blue Button, and that's the one that's integrated in Canvas. So our other option is Panopto, but Panopto is a huge pain if anyone's ever had to use it. I'm not a huge fan, and I find that students are less likely to use that than basically anything else. So I'm really hoping I can get them out on YouTube just so that like the students that want to can see them, and then they all get deleted at the end of the quarter and go away.
Well, you just host your classes at 6:30 in the morning, and then you won't have to worry about conflicting with anybody else.
Yeah,
bingo.
Yeah, exactly.
Or having students attend.
Exactly. Well, I mean, currently all of my students don't have face cams, so it's just like I'm talking to a wall of nothing.
Well,
that's go ahead.
I was going to say you could buy a $300 Logitech,
Yeah, how's that going on?
For $600 now?
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously, it's
Previously
ridiculous.
$49.95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So how often are you having that challenge, Kevin, where the students don't even have the equipment to go online to?
I have one student that regularly turns on his webcam.
But how many do you have that really don't even have the facility at home to do remote
Too many, although the school did do a good job. They have laptop rentals through the library and a whole bunch of other stuff. And like, I just made a blanket statement to my class that I have like 3 laptops floating around that I can porch drop to them if they need it. So thankfully, being in the IT program, we haven't suffered too much from that. It has been interesting seeing people, join class from their phone occasionally. Yeah, it's new
Hey,
world.
thanks, Brad. See you later, buddy.
I got to run out too. Nice to see everybody. And thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Bunches. Yes. Michael and Austin, you guys do a fantastic show. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, it was just a very calm evening. We're just a little bit normally more intense, so more IT oriented. But I figured this we just have a chill out meeting this time.
Yeah.
It's been too much. I've been doing a lot of speaking. I know Michael has too, but I used to speak at colleges before this coronavirus thing. I would go speak to students. I'd go out and do events, and I feel like I'm speaking more now than I have ever. So I don't know. I think Michael can relate to that.
It's so I found something that solves that problem.
What's that?
If you go to so as we're recording this for sort of posterity, but if you aren't the host and you go to gallery view, you can hide your own video. You can hide your own screen, and that's available for a lot of folks. I'll just do that now.
I bet you it's not in the Linux client. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem there, Kevin.
A lot of
these extra features I don't have
it listed.
Yeah, no, I had to cobble together this whole Jedi thing out of.
Yeah.
By the way, Kevin, that's now available on the Linux client. It showed up yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
But you can
hide
a Jedi.
You can hide your self view, and just from a person that has Zoom calls constantly 24/7. That's been a huge help, just not having to stare at your own face, which is, of course, not a normal thing you do in real life. So,
well, real quick too, speaking about that, kind of on the topic of different video platforms, Ryan brought up when we first got in that Teams is actually a lot more clear video and audio wise. I have never used Teams for video audio conferencing, so I'm gonna have to look into that.
I don't know that it's any more clear. We use it across our corporation, and it's equivalent.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft's really stepped up the game. I used to be pretty anti-Microsoft a few years ago, until they really stepped it back up, and now I push it. We specifically recently had a potential client that was looking for support for their new corporation, and he refused to take my advice to switch over from Google to Microsoft. And I cannot understand why somebody would use Google Business over Microsoft Business in 2020, personally. I don't know if anyone has any input on that, but
the Google platform is just brutal for business.
From a managerial and administration standpoint,
Yeah,
it's such a heartache, and I'm sure Ryan can relate on. You try doing an email migration, and good luck getting every single mailbox to properly transfer.
That we do all the time. That's not a big deal.
Really? Do you have problems? Because we have problems all the time transferring. Wow.
No, not at all. Where we find problems is as rogue IT inside of Google Business. We recently converted 165 users from Google to the 365 platform, and we found YouTube channels that they were making money off of that were in the business but not for the business.
Yeah.
All kinds of rogue IT going on that it's like the company had no idea it was going on.
Well, we recently had and I'm not going to name names, but we recently had a individual within our IT community working for an MSP that was crypto mining on all of their client devices. So that's a tough road too.
We had to kick some off of our servers.
Did it pay off?
I heard it from the source, and that's all I heard from from a client. So I don't really know.
I'm excited. On that note, not the same source that we had for last year, which was almost the same story.
Really?
Yeah, which was several company servers crypto mining and going into an unknown wallet. And
yep. So how do you resolve that? You do a full OS wipe, and it'd be faster than for me to spend 4 or 5 hours making sure it was a clean system. So, that's the way I took it.
That was doing that at the Best Buy retail stores. They were going in and putting all of the computers there too. That was fun to hear about.
Nice.
Crazy stuff.
We have a slide in our security training that says "Don't do stupid stuff," and it includes crypto mining.
Oh my gosh! Honestly though, if you have to say that, then you're I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the best hire in the first place.
What is that? Your official computer usage policy? It just says don't you do stupid stuff.
No, we have an official policy, but that's the one you see in the training.
Right.
That's pretty much all encompassing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we make every single client sign an acceptable use policy before we move forward with them. Just a very, very one-page acceptable use policy. And actually, it was Brad's wife is an amazing attorney, Jennifer, with Juniper Legal. She's trying to specialize in, she was a litigation attorney for 20 years. So I highly, highly recommend her. But she switched over to specializing in MSP and IT support law. So she helped write all of our contracts, and she did an amazing job. And like, I'm just blown away. Like, she really condensed it. She looked it up. She knew what she was talking about. So big shout out to, Jennifer, Juniper Legal. Just cool. Fantastic. All right.
Well, great meeting, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you talking here. Well, maybe we'll put together a more in-depth deal for the next one.
Yeah, I'd love to talk again. I've been, in my spare time working on scripts and stuff. It's been fun.
I do love it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah,